see here, we did the changes, so we had the agenda and we had no changes to the agenda, correct?
Correct.
Okay, the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, do you have any public comments, Mr. Lindner?
No?
Okay, so then we are going to discuss and approve our school reopening plan for the remainder of the 2020-21 school year, or for the upcoming.
Okay. All right. Our plan for the 2021 school year is to open with the basis of the parents' decision. We are offering 5-day face-to-face and our own virtual learning. Our plan has been developed using CDC guidelines, Clark County health recommendations, the Wisconsin Department of Health guidelines, Wisconsin DPI guidelines, and our loyal parent and staff survey. We feel with the size of of our district, that we can adequately physically social distance our students in the classroom. We've already demoed to the board elementary classroom and a high school classroom. And we went bare and essential and teacher desk and students desk. So we feel we can safely put 20 kids or less in a classroom. So we have a couple classes that we need to work on for numbers, but we feel confident we'll get that where we need it to be. The goal of this plan is to provide a structure for a safe return, and we believe we can do that. Minimizing student contact with other students and with staff members is going to be a key. Personal hygiene, social distancing, wearing masks or face coverings are going to be the key to keeping our school open and making sure that we continue to be open and offer what we can. Our school day schedule, school district of Loyal, like I said, will run 5 face-to-face days. Lockers will be assigned. We feel that we have enough lockers that we can spread out and have a good physical distance between each locker with the amount of students we have. A plan will be developed for our elementary students to utilize their lockers or cubbies and access those on a rotational basis to avoid close contact with other classes. So staggering when they leave their classes. In a junior high and high school, we've talked about staggering that also. So maybe they don't release all at once, so we don't have the full congregation out in the hallway at once. So, but with spreading them out the way we are from hallway to hallway, that will definitely decrease the amount of congestions that we've had in this main hallway running north and south. So we feel confident that with the masking and we'll be okay. Like I said, the classrooms are spaced. We feel comfortable that we are social distanced, and we will make sure that when students go in and leave, we are looking at having hand sanitizer, or if they have a sink, they wash their hands before and after. As far as cleaning the classrooms after an hour, we are looking at a number of different things to work with that. Whether it's the teacher cleaning the desk or the students helping out and cleaning their area, that desk, and then getting up and going. Those are things that we're looking at. So nothing finalized on that yet. Junior, senior high, no students in the building before 7:45 a.m. 7:45 to 8:05, students enter the building, get screened, stop at their locker, head directly to their first period class with required materials. At the conclusion of each day, students will be expected to take with them the necessary items to continue their learning in a virtual environment if a decision to do so is made on a short notice. If we happen to get closed at a night, they have their stuff and they have what they need. So that is the reason for that. All students will load buses, be picked up, or self-transport immediately following the last bell, with the exception of those involved in approved co-curricular activities. In the elementary, no students in the building before 7:45. Basically the same thing. Students entering the building from their drop-off site, get screened and temped, and head directly to the classroom. At the conclusion, same thing, of the day, will be expected to take all their stuff home, or the majority of their stuff home, so in case we have a closure. If we have to go on short notice, families will be reminded via Remind app, our school website. If we can't get a hold of, I do believe we have like 95% of our families on Remind. If nothing else, we will email or call the remaining if need be. So, same thing with the self-transport in the bus. They will all leave through that transportation. Options for instruction, all parents and students grades 4K through 12 will have an option of attending school face-to-face or taking courses virtually at home. The virtual option is contingent on the student having adequate internet access in their home. Students choosing to take courses virtually will be expected to be in class. Our virtual class will be, you will have your regular schedule, you will just do it virtually instead of face-to-face, and be responsible of being in that class each hour. And we are working on providing items for our teachers so that they can do this, and training for this. Regular attendance is an important aspect of student success, whether in school or taking courses virtually at home. For those families with multiple children or with limited access, instruction may be recorded and available online. Junior, senior high athletic activities. We will be following the WIA Clover Belt Conference and our Central Wisconsin Conference guidelines and recommendations for our athletic seasons. The County Health Department recommendations for host schools will be followed. More restrictive school board actions may be imposed during the implementation of this plan, should the board deem necessary. So our fall sports will start as follows. These are first day of practice, not competition. Cross country will start first day of practice August 17th. Football and volleyball will start first day of practice September 7th. All junior high sports at this time will be determined on what's going on with them in this month, later in this month. The review of this plan will be done on an ongoing basis as necessary. Non-athletic activities, all extracurricular activities before and after school will be reviewed for the first quarter. Activities that are of co-curricular in nature will be allowed to meet during the school day if time is made available in the schedule by the individual building principal. FFA, FBLA, if they need to have a meeting, we will go through the principals and make sure that's okayed. Overnight travel field trips, because of the difficulty of social distancing on a bus and sharing of a hotel room, no overnight travel or field trips will be allowed during the first semester of the school year. Review of this plan will be done on an ongoing basis as necessary. Outside groups, use of our facilities, the use of district facilities by outside groups, including but not limited to FFA alumni, Booster Club, Souls, 4-H, community-based athletics and events, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts will not be allowed for the first semester of the school year to utilize our building. Review of this plan will be done on an ongoing basis as necessary. Transportation, on our survey, we've had a number of them saying that they will self-transport or not utilize our bus, but for those that are utilizing our buses, transportation will be provided to students as it has been in the past. Students will be required to wear a mask while riding the bus. Family members will be asked to sit together. Students will have a assigned seat. For once they're sitting, that is their assigned seat until otherwise notified. We are loading to the back first, so when the first kid gets on, they will go all the way back, so we don't have any, what would you say, crossing of students as they go back, all right? So we'll go back to the front. When we unload, we will go front to the back. One student per seat. Like I said, families sit together, and we may have to configure how we do that. What we are looking at is picking up the rural kids first, dropping them off, and then having a bus, maybe two, go pick up the regular city students, and then dropping them off. That is where we're at right now. We will have a clearer picture. From our survey, we had about 2/3 of our families reply, so we have kind of a good understanding of where we're at load-wise per bus. After our registration next week, we will know for sure who's riding and who isn't, and we will be able to depict that a little bit better and actually know where we're at. Looking at about 24, 25 students per bus right now. So.
How many kids are typically on a bus?
I don't know if you double it. I would say anywhere from 45 to 50 is what I'm thinking. Usually two in a seat. So. Food service. Food service will continue with breakfast and lunch provided each day. Free and reduced and full pay meals will be in effect during the school year. As always, students are more than welcome to bring their own lunch from home. Salad bars and other opportunities for self-service or high-touch points will be eliminated, including the use of microwaves to heat up meals brought from home. Again, on our lunch program, we are working on staggering lunch times and how are we going to figure that out yet. So we're still working on that plan. That's just kind of a base of what we're looking at. Hygiene, PPE, and cleaning. The wearing of face covering is required under Wisconsin's Executive Order 28, Emergency Order 1, issued by Governor Evers. This requirement is in effect from August 1st through September 28th for individuals age 5 and older. The district has face coverings available for student, staff use. Students are encouraged to provide their own coverings as well. Other PPE will be provided by the district as available. Gloves, maybe shields, things like that. The promotion of good personal hygiene, cleaning of shared equipment and services, and the use of face coverings will be a focus of teachers and staff. Training on safe practices will be provided for all students and staff. Signs will be posted throughout the building on how to properly use face covering, wash hands, and how to use protective measures to stop the spread of COVID-19. Students will also be encouraged to carry a personal water bottle. So I do believe our first couple of weeks are going to be a lot of breaking our old habits and training them of our new expectations and behaviors. So of constantly having our hands washed and how we wear our face coverings and things like that. And then social distancing. Cleaning of classrooms and shared spaces will occur during the day and after school hours of each school day. More emphasis will be placed on daily cleaning throughout the building. Maintenance staff wearing proper PPE will continue to do this while classrooms are vacant of teachers and students. Symptoms positive test, return to school. Staff members and students should not be in school if they are displaying symptoms of influenza-type illness or COVID-19, or if they have been in contact with someone confirmed of having COVID-19 in the last 14 days. Each morning, staff members and students should have a health screening conducted as they enter the building. Individuals with a temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher will be sent home. If a student becomes ill at school, we will provide a supervised isolated space for the ill student to rest safely and quietly while waiting for the arrival of parent guardian. Upon notification, the parent and guardian should pick up the student within an hour. Clark County Health Department will be contacted if we have a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19. Reported concerns shall remain confidential. However, cases with COVID-19-like symptoms will be reported to the Clark County Health Department for guidance and follow-up in accordance with confidentiality laws and statutes. Ill staff members and students should not return to school until criteria to discontinue home or medical facility isolation is met, determined by the health professionals. Non-essential visitors and volunteers will be restricted from being in the school building. We want to keep as many people out of this building as possible so we do not have any type of items coming in. District will continue to follow Clark County Health Department recommendations for dealing with a person who exhibits symptoms, tests positive for the virus, or has been in close contact with someone who does test positive. Please refer to the attached flow chart provided by the county, and you can see that on the back on the scenarios where if there is symptoms and what it all goes through. And this will all be on our district newsletter coming out next week. In conclusion, the School District of Loyal has developed this plan to help reduce the chances of contracting or spreading of COVID-19 virus between students, staff, families, and our communities. Your child and family are the utmost importance to the school district. If we minimize contact, practice social distancing, wear face coverings, and practice good personal hygiene, we can go a long way to prevent the spread of this virus. Our goal by putting these simple things into practice is to stay open for face-to-face instruction throughout the school year. We must remain flexible and be supportive during the school year. So like I said at the beginning, this is a flexible plan. It may change, and I know we have some other work to do with some of the finer details, but this is what we are introducing to our board for approval tonight. You guys have any questions?
Maybe just review the, if a parent decides that they would want the virtual option, what, is it something that's permanent for the year or
Okay.
something?
Good question.
For that quarter? How are you doing?
Okay. So parents and students, when you register next week, you should have an idea of what you're doing, face-to-face or virtual, and please let us know. Should be able to let us know next week. If you choose to go virtual, we're looking at being virtual for that person or that student being virtual for at least one quarter. So there is not a flipping back and forth. So at least one quarter being virtual. And so like I said before, they will be at their home, but virtually they will be watching the class. They can partake in the class. And then the class will be videotaped, archived, is what we're looking at, and then they can go back if they miss something and they can pull it up and rewatch it. As far as face-to-face, we are working on a couple different things with schedules to limit the amount of transition, to try to keep our students more together. We don't have kids all over the place with different students. So try to keep them limited to the amount of exposure they have to all the students.
And I think when we talk about the virtual, choosing the virtual optional from home, it's not going to be the same model as we had in the spring. So
Correct.
if your math class is at 10 o'clock, you have to report online at 10 o'clock. You can't work your job for the day and then go back at night.
Right.
And I just think it's very clear to be very upfront about that, because we're trying to avoid what we did in the spring. So you still need to be home.
Correct. So it'll be, instead of walking to the next class, you'll be clicking to the next class, and you'll just go that way. So that is what we think is a good way to do it. And some people are talking about RVA, Rural Virtual Academy. They are full. The waiting list is long, and they are not taking anyone. So this is our virtual way of doing it. So for those that choose to do this.
Can you speak a little bit about what you kind of just, your thought process on the class schedule? That, I know it's not final yet. But
Okay.
What your thinking is there, so the parents.
What we're trying to work on is we have an 8-period day right now, and to help reduce the transition, the amount of kids that are exposed to each other kid, for the amount of time, we are looking at a possible block schedule that would limit it down to 4 periods a day. And so we are in the works of trying to get that to work. Nothing is finalized, but we are playing around with some different things just to limit the amount of transition, limit maybe even the amount of classes that they have as of right now. So in case things happen, we do close, they have this amount of classes yet, and next quarter it may be a little bit of different classes. So it isn't so much load on everyone at this time. So, but nothing's worked out, finalized yet. So we are working on that and trying to hammer something. But we are looking at possibly a block.
And I think one thing to mention about block schedules is while it's limiting all those things, it's increasing the amount of classroom time for those kids with the teachers to work on homework. And like Mr. Lindner was saying, if we were to have to go to virtual, instead of having 7 or 8 classes in a daily load, they'd only have 4. So I think, when you hear those numbers, that significantly helps as well.
And that was a concern from some of our parents, families, students, that the load when we left in the spring was a lot. And we are working on getting a common platform for our teachers, so they're all on one platform. And that was not the case in spring, but it was all sprung on us, literally. And so we're working on that. We're working on the virtual. So I'm happy with where we're at right now, and we're not done working. We have a number of things to finish up, but I think we got a good plan and a good direction as of today.
It might be good to point out that block scheduling would only be an option in junior, senior high.
Yeah.
Schedule on the elementary end, we'll try to maintain as traditional as possible.
Good point. Thank you.
Other questions, concerns, do we have?
Concern about someone who has health issues
and the only, like, registration, we were talking, like, if your child has, health concerns, it's very important to, you know, let the office know, because if you follow the guidelines here, some of them are cough, congestion, you know, headaches, stuff like that. So if your child suffers from migraines or headaches, you know, it's very important to let the office know that they have headaches or they have allergies or hay fever or stuff, so that they're not getting sent home and, you know, have to be tested every time for COVID. So it's very important to let these guys know that when you register your children.
So next week, good point. Next week, we will have, we're planning on having a questionnaire of busing, internet connection, availability, and, you know, is a good connection, and make sure that we have the medical, if you have a student that has a medical condition, we need to know, so that we can at least put a flag on it, so we know if something happens, if they are suffering migraines and all of a sudden they have a migraine, that it isn't just directly, we steer towards COVID. So something that we have a little background for or with.
I think registration is going to be really vital for our parents to make sure, you know, your phone numbers, your emails, you're signed up for Remind, make sure everything is 100% correct, make sure that if you're not able to be contacted, that you have a backup plan so your child can be picked up and cared for, you know, as soon as, you know, if they have a fever here. Most of us parents work out of Loyal, and, you know, we have to make sure somebody can get here and get to our kids if they are screened at the door and they have symptoms. So definitely at registration, double and triple check all your information to make sure you're as up to date as you can be.
And that'll be 4 days
Yeah,
instead of 2, the registration, so that we have more availability for parents to come in.
And it runs, I do believe.
What's that?
What time does it run? 7 to?
Till 7 every night.
Okay.
For 4 days next week, so parents can come in without the fear of being on top of one another.
Yep.
And the same thing goes for elementary open house, that's been extended as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Davey, any concerns? Harlan? Karen? Kim? Tom, feel good about stuff? All right, if we have no further questions or concerns, we would need a motion to approve our school reopening plan.
Make that motion.
Harland? And a second from Carrie. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, our school reopening plan has been approved, and I wanted to just extend a huge thank you to our administration. You guys have spent countless hours on this. Thank you to our parents and our families who participated in the surveys. We have to do this together, and thank you guys so much for putting together such a detailed, well thought out plan.
I would like to thank our staff also, our teaching staff and custodial and food service. They were all part of it. We had a number of teachers on it and even school board members. So it's been a long but a very good process for us.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to discuss? All
So
right.
that'll be on the school website, and then.
Yep, it'll be on our district newsletter next week. It'll be on the website tomorrow sometime, and Clark County Press, radios, that'll all get out tomorrow.
So if anyone's got specific concerns, need to talk to.
They can call me.
Yeah.
So.
All right. If that is it, Mr. Whitmer?
Yep.
We would need a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Carrie?
I'll second.
Harlan? All right. Meeting is adjourned.